In today's tutorial, I'm drafting a two bustier dress. The sewing video will go up later, so do subscribe and turn on your post notification bell so you're updated when I post the next video. So I've gone ahead to mark out my start line, and I'll go over and take my shoulder measurements, which is 8 inches. I'm going to mark it there, and then I'll take my neck width of 3 inches and neck depth of 3 inches. Go ahead and mark it there, and then give it a curve. After this, I'm going to take my shoulder slant. I'll come down at the shoulder point by 1 inch, then connect a line from the neck width to the shoulder point at the slant there. Then from the slant, I'm going to come down my armhole depth. I used my bust measurement. I divided my bust measurement by 6 and added 1.5 to get my armhole depth. So I'm going to rule a line from the shoulder slant to the armhole point. After that, I'll rule a line across. That line is going to serve as my chest line now. Then I'll place my tape at the shoulder and take my bust point and also my under bust point. Then the waist is already the full length of the paper with the allowance. I'll go on and rule a horizontal line there. Then I'm going to take my dart measurement, which I'm using my nipple to nipple point from one nipple to the other, which is 8 inches. I divided 8 inches by 2 to give me 4 inches, and then I added ½ inch as allowance at the dart line there. So I'm going to rule a straight line from the chest to the waist. Then I'll go over to my shoulder and divide it by 2 from my neck width to my shoulder point. Whatever you get, divide by 2. You mark it and then rule a straight line from that point to the chest point into the under bust. This is going to help us with our sweetheart neckline. Also, I'm going to measure, I just measured 1 inch down from my bust point, and then I'm going to take 1 inch at the under bust point and then 1 inch at the waist point. I marked 1 inch down at the nipple point. I marked 1 inch down. Then I took 1 inch at the under bust and then 1 inch at the waist point to get my dart. So I'm going to connect these lines to the 1 inch I came down by at the bust point. So I'm going to take a curve ruler and connect the lines. I'm giving it a curve at that point from the 1 inch point I came down by at the bust point. This is going to give the bust enough room to accommodate. Then I'm taking my measurement at the bust point and the under bust, the difference. I'm going to use that to make a circle. That's going to serve as the radius of the circle. So I'll go ahead and begin to mark. I place my tape at my bust point and I'm marking it round. Mine is 3 inches. The difference between my bust point and my under bust is 3.5. So I'm marking it round, making a circle. This is going to help us in achieving the sweetheart neckline as well. So I've marked it. You can see we already have a circle. So I'll also go up from the nipple point. I'll go up by 1/2 inch. All this that I'm creating is just to give the bust enough room to accommodate. And then at the upper chest, at the new line we drew, I will go up at that point towards the middle of the bust. I went out by 0.7, and then towards the armhole of the bust, I went out by 1.3, making both 2 inches. So I took 2 inches at that point, just like I took 2 inches at the under bust and at the waist. You know, the bigger the bust, the bigger the dart measurement. The bust I'm using here is 40 inches. So if your bust is smaller, go with a smaller measurement at your dart line. I'm going to take the middle of my armhole. I forgot to do that earlier. I just marked the middle and came out by 1/2 inch, and I'll connect that line. So you can go up depending on how deep you want your neck depth to be. You can go up from the chest point. I just went up by 1/2 inch at the chest point. You can make use of the chest line. You can come down to the nipple point and start taking your curve. It depends on what your preference is. This draft I'm making, this pattern, the person don't want her bust to show, so I'm going to go up to make sure it's really modest. So I'll come to the bust line, the dart line I took at the upper chest, and I'll still take 1/4 inch there. This to help us achieve a very good tightening, so that the tube bustier can hold very well at the upside to avoid any form of bulging. So I'll go ahead and take my bust measurement, divide your bust measurement by 4. Whatever you get, just mark it there. Then I'm going to take the measurements of my darts. What I have at my darts, I'm going to take that measurement and mark it, which is 2.5. I'm going to mark it there. You know, whatever you've taken, you need to replace them. If not, you're going to be short of fabric. Don't forget to replace the darts you've taken. So my dart here is 2 inches. I'm going to replace that as well. Just mark a point. Likewise with the waist point, divide your waist measurements by 4. Whatever you get, check the darts you've taken, and then also mark that measurement there. Waist point is also 2 inches. So I'm going to connect it from up down, from the chest line to the waistline. I'm going to connect it there. And I'll go over and add my swing allowance. I'm adding 2 inches because it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better you have excess fabric than to have shortage. When you're done making the dress, you can go ahead and trim as much as you want, but make sure you have enough fabric. So I just drew down the lines, and I'm going to add 1/2 inch allowance around my sweetheart neckline there. I'm going to connect it into the armhole. Then the upper side is going to serve as yoke in case you're using a yoke for your bustier. The upside is going to serve as yoke. When you cut out the yoke, don't forget to add the pattern, the allowance as well. So I'll go over to my dart point and smoothing it out because we don't want any sharp edges there. So I'm going to smoothen it out to blend in properly. I'm going to cut, but before that, I'm going to smoothen out this other edge. Give it a little curve over there. And then you cut it out. Watch how I'm cutting it out so you don't miss it. So that's it. We'll go ahead and cut out the yoke as well. I forgot to add the shoulder seam allowance, so you can see I went up there while cutting it at the 1/2 inch point. So yeah, and here we have it. When you're cutting on your fabric, remember to cut on fold. This pattern is not on fold. Remember to fold your fabric before placing your patterns. Alright, so for the back, I have already marked my 1/2 inch start line. I went ahead to mark my shoulder line, which is 8 inches, neck width of 3 inches, neck depth of 1 inch. Take my ruler and mark it out. Then I'll go over and take my 1 inch for the shoulder slant from the neck width to the shoulder point. Then I'll roll it down and mark it down. Mark your armhole depth down and roll it. Just to be sure that the lines are straight and we're on the same points. I'll take the shoulder measurements at that side again to get a straight line. Then I'll go ahead and mark a horizontal line across. We already have our waist measurement there, which is the length of the paper. I'll take your armhole. I'm going to mark the, take the 1/2 of the armhole, mark it there, and then take my curve, my armhole curve. Then I'll go over to mark out my dart lines. So on this pattern, we just have the chest line and the waist line. No need for under bust and bust points. So just go ahead and drill a straight line from top to bottom. Then I'll take my dart. I'm going to be using 1/2 inch on both sides. Then I'll come down from my chest line by 1/2 inch and rule my dart line from top to bottom to give it a smooth blend at that point. That's why I came down by 1/2 inch. Then I'll connect. So the next thing is to go ahead and take my neckline. You can go down by 2 inches as much as you want. You can go down by 3, depending on what you really want. You can maintain the chest line. So I just went down by 1/2 inch. I'll connect it to give it a curve there. Mark it into the armhole. Okay, so you can see that I left 2 inches for our zipper allowance there. You're going to start marking from the line. Divide your bust measurement by 4 and mark it. You're starting from the zipper line. The 2 inches is there. Don't forget to leave your 2 inches allowance for your zipper. So you go ahead and take the difference. Your bust, we have 1 inch there. Add the 1 inch to your measurement, and then you roll down from the chest line to the waist. So I'll go over and add my sewing allowance of 2 inches. I'm going to mark it as well. So this is it. Okay, so I might just maintain the chest line or go with the 1/2 inch down. I'll go over and extend the line into the zipper side. Then the next thing is to cut it out. So I'm just going to cut it straight. I won't use the curve again. So you can go on and work with whatever you want. And I'm not going to cut the dart side. All I need to do is just to fold it and stitch. You can stitch from bottom up. And that's my yoke. Cut out the yoke as well. If you're adding a yoke to your dress, this part is important. You place it on your fabric and cut out. Going up by 1/2 inch for the shoulder seam. And mark it before cutting. Yes, that is it. So the next thing, we are going into the skirt. So I've already marked out my start line. I'll go over to take my hip measurements of 9 inches. And then I'll go over and also mark my knee point. And then the full length of the skirt, which is the down parts of the dress. Just rule a straight line. I'm ruling the hip line. I'm extending the hip line. I'll also extend the knee point. And I'm going to divide my waist measurement by 4 and mark it there. Same thing with the hip. Divide your hip measurement by 4 and mark it. Then whatever you get on your hip, whatever I got on my hip line, what I did was to remove 1 inch and mark at the knee line. Then I'll go over and add my allowance. Before that, I'll also mark same thing at the hem. Same thing with the knee line is what I marked at the hem of the dress. Then I'll add my sewing allowance of 2 inches. Just go on and connect the points. I'm going to use my ruler to mark it there. Then connect it down to the hem. After this, the next thing to do is cut it out. Then to mark the back pattern, I folded my fabric enough to accommodate the front pattern, and then I also marked out my zipper allowance of 2 inches. So I placed the fabric on the same point with the back pattern, and I marked it out. Then I'll go to my zipper point at the hip. Make sure it's well aligned. My zipper point at the hip, and I marked 2 inches there. Then I went to the knee point and I marked 1 inch. And then to the waist point, I marked 1 inch. So I'm going to connect this line in a curve. What I'm trying to achieve here, I don't want a straight zipper. I'm trying to create room where the butt can sit well. By doing this, we are going to achieve a dress that the buttocks will be able to sit properly, not wearing a cloth with a flat buttocks because we didn't contour that side properly. So if you just mark it down straight, it won't sit well. But using this method will give you a very good fitting on your dress. So I'm going to also connect it down to the hem of the dress, of the skirt. So watch what I did and do likewise. Thanks for watching. See you in the sewing video.